And good morning, Risk Raider fans, Red Raider fans,
Just
Texan
just
fans,
all of our fans. It's just we
all
couldn't even
fans. Welcome,
all fans.
all
Well, those
fans.
Texans, your Texans are doing good.
Man, let me
Let me-
tell you something. And we have our work cut out for us up
Well,
in
when you get into
Patriot
the
land. What do
yeah,
they
but
call
you
it? Foxborough.
never heard of it. Never heard of it. But
Oh,
the good thing is that Risk Raiders is really angled at Texas. So therefore, our Texan fans, hopefully, you guys are going to be there. Well, let's just welcome everybody. Brent pretty much called out everybody. Welcome everybody from other countries. We're glad to have you here.
yeah, you're following us from a foreign land.
Anyway, welcome to Risk Raiders. It's another fun podcast here. I'm Jeff Shropshire. Brent Borkstead's my co-host. Remember, he and I are too seasoned, and you can tell that because I look like Santa Claus. Insurance agents owners, but this show is not just about insurance. This show is about personal risk management for your families and your business. We're not giving out professional advice because we don't know you. So what we want you to do is take what you learned today, pick up the phone, call the guy or gal that helps you with your insurance, talk to them about these things, or talk to your attorney or your accountant. But you're going to learn a lot today because today, Brent, we're going to talk about this comes up in my office a lot. Because we in our agency, we do write a lot of nonprofits, and then we deal with a lot of people with volunteer drivers, and then you and everybody deals with people driving their own vehicle on the job. Today, we are going to give you some tips on how to protect yourselves when you're driving your own auto, whether you're doing work for your employer or you're doing volunteer work. And Brent, this volunteer thing, I'm going to tell you, the school, I was the worst at this, being a volunteer driver. I avoided it like the plague. Kelly didn't want me to do it. And so this was my problem with it. And this has nothing to do with the topic, but I want to see what you thought. My kids went to a school where there really weren't buses. They had some buses,
Right.
but every time we did a field trip, every time we did an activity, a sporting event, man, the parents had to jump in there and throw those kids in there. And I hated it. And I broke this down last night into why I hated it so bad.
I can't wait to.
Are you ready? Okay, so this is just two segments. This is real quick, ladies and gentlemen. So between you have those kids that are like kindergarten to like 4th or 5th grade. My problem was with the fluids.
I was going to say you need an Uber bag in your back seat. You know what that is, right?
I mean, it sounds like all sorts of orchestra. It sounds like old men and women. Every time I'd load that car up, it would just be the hacking, this, and then you're like, I don't know if somebody's like using the toiletries corrected. It was awful. And then the sneezing, it looked like Spider-Man was having an epileptic seizure back there with everything, the webs just flying all over my car. Every time we were done, I'd get out of the car, the whole back seat's crusted, and it smelled like tuna fish. We didn't even have
Uber
food.
bag is?
Oh, it was so bad.
Uber bag is when you get in an Uber and those guys have got the whole back of their car wrapped in plastic.
I know. You need to just plexiglass it down or put that dog thing.
Yeah.
Then I figured this out. So then when the kids get from junior high until they can drive in high school, and you're transporting these kids, and you're having sporting events, especially, it's the smell.
It's the shoes.
It's the smell.
The shoes have to go in your trunk, or your car will never smell the same. But the problem is, then your trunk has that funk.
It does. And you know what? I figured out, here's what I thought the funk smelled like, at least to me. It was like you took a ham and you roasted it in a burning tire. That's what it smelled like. I swear to goodness, one time I took my son, they were older, and I'm like, I can't get this out. There was a grass fire out from not that far out in the city. I took the truck, I drove out to where it was, got on the highway, rolled my windows down just to let the smell of burning grass come through
to clean it
literally
out.
offset the burning ham and a tire smell. So I'm not your guy for volunteer driving. I'm going to avert it like a passion, but God bless, seriously, all the moms and dads who do, because none of these things would ever get done. But when you do these things, when you're driving your own vehicle or you're working and you're maybe a salesperson, you might be doing these things. Today, we're going to talk about that vehicle, what's the responsibility to where if you have an accident, how does that work? So, Brent, take us down. Give us a few more examples of what people should be thinking about who might be using their car and they don't know they might have a problem with some of this.
We're gonna use the phrase today, call your agent, a lot.
Yeah.
And this is a complex issue, and there's no simple explanations for using your vehicle as a volunteer or using it in business. And I don't know if I've told you, my favorite movie is Pulp Fiction, right? And in that movie, Ving Rhames is an actor. I can't think of his name. He's the head gangster in the movie, but in there,
Yeah,
I
I
think
can't
they're
remember his name in it, but that
I
shows one that
can't.
when it comes on, it's one that you have to stop and watch it.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
good.
to. It's
I've
good.
watched it like 30 times.
Yeah.
So in the movie, they're looking for Bruce Willis, right? Because he didn't throw the fight, and
Yeah.
so they're like, "Well, we think he's over here," and he leans over to the guy and goes, "We don't want to think, we want to know." That's where we're going today.
That's
You
right.
don't want to think you have coverage as a volunteer. You want to know.
Right. And the
And
only way
so,
you're going to know, just like you said, is you're going to have to talk to your agent about this.
absolutely. And you're
C-
going to have to talk to the agent, maybe, who's writing the coverage for the volunteer organization that you work at. You need to get some feedback from the people because the people who work there don't know.
No, no,
They
no, no.
don't know. They're all happy and volunteers and trying to make kumbaya and the world a safer place for happy people, and it's all
Yeah.
good. They think it's, oh, we have insurance. We have insurance. It's all good. No, it
Yeah.
isn't.
No, they're
And
just kind of focused on trying to get the kids from here to there or run the
our meals to
organization.
seniors
Yeah.
or whatever the thing is that they're doing, or we have a client that actually picks up people and takes them to the doctor.
Yeah, that's great.
Uh, and they're
But
using their own car. I mean, they're volunteers using their own cars to go get people that are disabled. Hello,
yeah.
what could go wrong? And go take them to their doctor's appointments. And so it's fraught with difficulty and risk.
Oh,
And they have non-owned and hired, but the part about the volunteers is sketchy, man. It's really, and the other part I would add about volunteers using their own vehicles that we learned from a client who loaned cars. They had a body shop and they had loaner cars that they would give you when you brought your car in for body work. Contract said your insurance is primary, which is great. That's what you normally do when you rent a car. Your insurance becomes primary. But what we discovered in the last couple of years that here in Harris County, because the prices are so high for personal auto liability here, that you've got all these new forms out there in the
right.
marketplace trying to get people cheaper pricing on their auto. And so what used to be the standard on a Texas PAP, personal auto policy, was that you had what we call kind of drive other car.
Yeah.
Your car, your auto insurance followed you pretty much in anything you were driving. Not the case anymore. A
No,
lot
much
of
more
these
restricted
policies,
now.
they're named driver, they're named vehicle, and they only cover you while driving that vehicle and only you driving that vehicle. Maybe it's very narrow
Yeah.
definition.
Yeah.
And so you've got to be super careful and you've got to really understand your coverage. And then you've got to make sure that that organization that you're volunteering for has adequate coverage, because your policy may not follow you and you may need their policy to pick it up. So again, call your agent
Yeah, and don't
and
be surprised
engage
that when you
them.
call, they're going to try to call you back because every policy can be different, and that's not a slam on the agent. I mean, we're an agent now in today's world's got to pick it up and go to the policy. We used to be able to say things like this off the cuff. Oh, if you do this, you do that. Not now. Brent made it very
Not
clear.
anymore.
So you're going to have to get you get your volunteer drivers, which we're going to talk about, and then it's also going to be that time you may be using your car and while you work for somebody else. And it may be a full-time thing when you're out making sales calls, or it may be simply just getting in the car and going to the bank. You're just
Exactly. Or
running
one
an
of your employees getting in their car, take something to the bank
exactly
or to
just running
go.
an errand.
You're running an
Somebody doing
errand.
something
Yeah.
off the cuff. Maybe the company car is not even working, so they get in their car, and then that's when it
Go pick up a
happens.
burger. Go pick
Yeah,
up lunch for the office.
that sounds good. I'm sorry.
I'm hungry
I'm sorry. I
right
was a little
now. So
distracted
that's
on
why
that.
food came to mind, because I'm hungry. So we may have
Yes.
several food references coming
Yeah.
up.
So when you get on the Regal Beagle, get over there and get us on. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's talk about the personal auto policy. And this is general terms. And if you guys are in other states listening to this, or even if you're in Texas, again, what we said, this is broad incorporation. Call your agent, because your policy may not be exactly the same as what we're going to talk in generalities here. But
Yeah.
what's the deal? What's the normal rule, Brent, about if you're driving your car, whether you're volunteering or if you're on work? Typically, whose insurance is really the primary most of the time?
Normally, and this is
Normally.
not looking at some of these special forms that are out there that people buy to get lower premiums. Normally, in Texas, if you've got a standard, kind of what we call the old PAP, a personal auto policy, that policy pretty much follows you driving other vehicles to an extent. It doesn't cover commercial vehicles. Like you can't go, like if there's a dump truck idling across the street and you decide you want to go take it for a spin around the block, not covered.
No, bad.
Okay, not
Bad
covered.
idea.
But if you drive your neighbor's car, or generally speaking, your policy's going to follow you. But again, you need to check and see what kind of policy you have, because a lot of these forms are limited now. And
Yeah.
whereas in the past that would have been automatically covered, same with a rent car. A lot of these policies now have
Uh,
limitations on loss of use. If you damage that vehicle and it's out of service, that used to be covered, not
no,
necessarily,
and
or
and we're gonna do a whole
as
show
Lee
on rent
Corso
cars.
says, not
Yeah.
so fast, my friend.
No, we're going to do a whole show on that, Brent, because that's turned into a real mess as well
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
But yes, but so if I'm working for you, Brent, I'm working for your company, but I'm going to go out and jump in Jeff's car and I'm going to take off down the road and I'm going to go get that burger or I'm going to go make a sales call. Um, where does my insurance policy lie in regards to if I have an at-fault accident?
Two things are going to happen. Uh, your your primary policy that you have on your vehicles, you need to notify them because it's possibly going to respond. Whoever's car it is, their policy could respond as a secondary, or it could be primary, and then the business could have non-owned and hired that could respond. Now they'll all stack up. They'll decide who's primary and who's secondary and
Yeah,
who's excess.
yeah.
But
And
there's
they'll
a
all be
lot of
trying to
moving
be
parts
excess.
in that.
Trust me. That's Yeah. All right. So let's take this scenario then. Jeff throws the little four groups of snot bags in the back of the vehicle to take him on a field trip for the school. And then Jeff just accidentally that yellow light flipped a little soon, and all of a sudden I've T-boned a car, and I've got three little snot bags in the back that are not dead, but I mean they're hurt, sore
Hurt.
hurt. My
People are
car's
injured.
trashed. How's the policy typically going to respond on that deal?
Well, you've got coverage, but again, there's limitations, and you need to understand what you're doing when you do that. You need to look at your policy, and if you're routinely driving kids around, you had better damn sure call your agent and say, "Hey, man, do I need to bump my PIP limits? Do I need to, check on my uninsured motorist? Does my umbrella go over my uninsured motorist?" There's a lot of issues that come into play when you're out driving. If you and some parents, if you recall, other people, we did it. My wife and I drove kids a
Yeah.
lot because we went to a small school too, and so whenever we did field trips, we took them. We chaperoned them. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, and we're not against that, folks, and we're not telling
No,
you not to do these things, but we're telling you you're gonna as risk graders always says about being proactive in risk management. This is being proactive risk management. This may not even cost you anything. It all may be good. You make that call, discuss it with your agent. There's nothing else to do. I
right.
will tell you what I did on mine though, to be honest with you about it. When our kids were in that range and stuff, I completely, like you just said, I reevaluated my limits. My liability limits, my uninsured limits with all those kids in my car, I raised them. And then I did get a really good umbrella, good limit, not bare bones on top of that. Because I think there's some sort of due diligence to that if you're taking on the responsibility, you're doing it good heartedly, but you're responsible for the lives in your car. And the thing is, to me, there's just kind of, it's my personal thought, but there's that kind of that honor code that if I'm going to take on that responsibility, I got to take it on financially too if something goes wrong.
Yeah,
And I don't
because
want to rely on other people or other things. If it's my fault, that's my car. That's me.
well, the thing is, and you might say to yourself, "Well, none of these parents are going to sue me," and maybe they wouldn't,
Hey, you don't
but
know.
you don't know when people get into a jam. What if they don't have health insurance on those kids, which is very common these days? Or what if their health insurance carrier, who comes in and has to pay a $500,000 claim on an injured child, what if they decide to subrogate against you.
Yeah,
And they decide you were partially at fault, and they go, "Oh, we're not paying the whole freight on this health insurance claim.
right.
We're gonna subrogate against Mr. Shropshire, who was driving the car."
Yeah,
And all of
and
these things are out of your control, and
and
the
it
parents may
happens a
say, "We
lot.
don't wanna sue him," but
No, and it usually happens when it's really serious. When you have somebody in your car, and it don't have to be a child, folks. This could be that example that Brent was talking about. You could have somebody in your vehicle who has a disability, somebody who's older, somebody you're trying to help. But if they have significant or long-term potential medical, there's no doubt in today's litigious society, blame whoever you want. Not going to do that here on Risk Raiders. It's just a reality. When there's big bills, entities are trying to find solutions to who's going to pay them. That's just
and
where we are now,
and the
whether
nicest
people want to
people
do it or not, you know?
yeah, whether the people wanna do it or not, but let me just tell you, and I've seen this happen in some homeowners' claims where kids got people that got hurt at people's homes. They started out the day saying, "Oh, we're not gonna sue, it's okay." But then they realized Johnny's got a $500,000 of legal bills, and they're like, "Hmm, got hurt at your house. Let's talk about your insurance." They start off the day saying they're not gonna, and then all of a sudden they're looking at big bills, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't have dependent coverage through the wife's health insurance policy like we thought." Like you say, when there's big bills, a lot of times you start running down the road of where are we going to get this paid for, and you run into brick walls, and that's when the lawyers come out.
That's right.
So,
And so you have to kind of put it in a nutshell. You've got the situation of you, before you volunteer, folks, before you drive your car. And we've been talking a lot about we've been talking an awful lot about volunteering, but there is a lot of you now who are using your own vehicles. You may be Uber, Lyft drivers. You may be in the form
it's
of
a whole nother
delivery.
thing.
Delivery is a big deal now. There's a lot of industry and a lot of opportunity to make really good money doing those things using your vehicle. In the capacity of service and deliveries, we've had people who are delivering gosh, they're driving and delivering medical stuff, medical tests I mean, just all sorts
Excuse
of
me.
things. And those are the same sorts of problems. Brent is, by the way,
Sorry.
he has survived. He is here. He is battling basically the angel of death to be with you today. So you just gotta. We're not, and I told him we don't do sneeze guards. We let it go here on the
Yeah.
Risk Graders. But seriously, you're driving your vehicle, you're Ubering, you're delivering, you're doing all those things. You've got to call your agent because some of the policies now do have the endorsements. They also have the exclusions. They have ways to make it happen, but it's not natural. It's not a natural solution where just the run of the mill, get online, get you a quote, not going to help you with those things.
It's a
Be-
little simpler in auto in that it is clearly excluded in most auto policies
right.
if you're doing anything that's livery or stuff like that. The question is, does the company you're driving for, Uber, or I'll tell you what I see a lot here is, I see a lot of people delivering Amazon packages out of their own vehicle with a magnetic sign on their car. You've got the big truck, but then I
Right.
see it almost like a hot shot where they're out taking the rest of the packages that wouldn't fit on the truck. But you see people driving their own car, like at 2 in the morning. I'll see them
Yeah.
on my
Yeah.
camera.
Especially during the holidays and stuff
Yeah,
like that when I guess I
that's
don't
your
know what
personal
that
vehicle
is,
they're
but
driving for Amazon, and I don't know what Amazon's policy is. I know Uber covers you as soon as that person gets in your car, their policy takes over, and your policy clearly excludes it. That's a little bit cleaner. Not totally, still something you need to talk to your agent about. Damn sure you need to talk to your agent if you're
yeah.
driving for
And if you're
Uber.
one of those drivers, when was the last time you looked at that agreement? Has things changed? If you're going to be
You
driving
know
for any
damn
of
well it's
these,
changed. They probably send you a change every week
of
in an
course it
email.
changes, but you're the one who's responsible. Like if you're going to do those jobs, and again, there's nothing. They're great jobs, and you can make a lot of money. We're not trying to discourage any of that, but
No.
if you've been doing it for 3 years and you haven't pulled any of these contracts, whether it's through like an Uber or through a larger company, you're doing deliveries for somebody, and you haven't reviewed that, you need to get a copy of that and go get with your agent.
Yeah. And
Again,
ask.
you got to do it because it's just you don't want to find out when the ambulance is there, the cops are there. You don't have time to worry about that.
I
Y-
know.
It's just
In
not,
other words, you don't wanna think, you wanna
Yeah.
know.
Have you ever gotten that call from the client and then in the background you hear, And you're like,
Yeah. Hey,
hey, what you
it's usually
doing?
a cell phone call where like, "Hey, I've had an accident and I don't know what to do," and then they tell you the rest of the story, and you're like, "Oh god."
Yeah, yeah. There's pizza all over the inside of my car, and it's not my pizza. And you're like,
That's not my pizza. Hey, I've got this red bag in the car, and it's
yeah.
all over the
What
place
about the
now.
feller in the back seat who can't speak right now? Is there a problem? Yeah, there might. I don't know. There might be a problem.
Yeah, it could be a problem, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. but but
Yeah,
you know
could be a
that's
problem.
that is probably a problem. But you got to when you're going to do these things, we would sit there and tell you it's planning.
Yeah,
It's not an automatic off the cuff decision, and you can find ways to do these things,
yeah.
but you
Well
don't want to do make decisions like this in a heartbeat. Like, yeah, I'm going to do it because you just don't know.
well, and I think like you said earlier, back in the day, and I know we say this a lot, we used to have standardized coverage forms,
Yeah,
and a lot of things were assumed that were right. Things were covered automatically. Well, now in 2026, there's a lot of different coverage forms in play, like we said, and you can't make any assumptions. Even
no,
if you've got a policy with a big company, a big, well known, well thought of carrier, a lot of those guys have put new language in these policies dealing with these subjects because it's gotten so messy. No one drove for Uber 10 years ago. Nobody only I mean, a few kids delivered pizzas, and I remember the state of Texas
yeah,
came in and changed the POP to cover that. Remember that?
oh yeah,
Uh, but man, that's all gone out the window, and everybody has rewritten these forms. And if you're renting vehicles or driving for Uber or driving for Amazon, you need to find out.
absolutely. And if Texas is doing it, probably your state is doing it as well. That's why these coverage reviews are really important. And don't be surprised on some instances if your agent recommends sometimes you switch from a personal auto policy to a business policy. And that's not a bad thing either. You need to go wherever the coverage is for you. And that's what you have to try to figure out. And I'm telling you, I know you can Google and do all this stuff, but Brendan, I've done these shows about the super agent and the good agents and all those things. There's a lot of them out there. You need to find one and have them as your counselor, because they can really save your financial assets on this deal. Because if it
Yeah,
goes awry, it's bad, because
it can be very bad, and
yeah,
automobiles are a real source. I mean, that's where the big claims happen is
yeah,
in the car. You
everything.
don't see them at home very much. You don't see them anywhere else. You see them in auto accidents. That's where the big dollars come from when you hit someone else or, that's where you're going to see the big numbers. That's where you're going to see the umbrellas and those kinds of things. So just need to find out.
Yeah,
It just takes a quick minute phone call, check with your agent, send them the documents, say, "Hey, I've got this. I'm driving for these guys, or I'm working for this volunteer organization. They've given me this document. I need you to look at it."
yeah.
Uh, you know, it's not a big deal. It's
So
not
we
going to
could
make them mad. It's like your agent, they deal with this, and they need to help you with it.
But
That's
that's
what
what
they're
you pay
for.
them for. If it's a problem, that's what we talked about. If you can't get this answered pretty quick, then you probably need to find somebody else who should do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You
Um,
need to do something else.
I think we kind of summed it up, Brent, to where really the risk management tool, if you're going to drive your vehicle for your own job, your own vehicle for your own job, or you're going to volunteer, or you're going to rent a vehicle, the risk management tip of the day is call your insurance agent first,
Yeah.
not later.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just
That's it.
especially if you're using your car in business. That's a whole nother subject, and,
Yeah, we're going to
you may
tackle
need a
that one in a
commercial
couple of months.
policy, and we're gonna have a show on that. We're also gonna have a show on when your kids start driving because that's a
Oh,
whole 'nother thing too.
yeah.
That's a very, 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 very tricky. I mean, it's covered. They're covered under your policy, but again, there's caveats to that. And need to talk to your agent. I've got a contract that I wrote that we're going to talk about next week, and because we're going to do a show next week, I think, aren't we on
Yeah, I
kids
think this is the
driving?
topic for next week because we get a lot of calls, and you're starting off this year. A lot of you are going to have new drivers, youth drivers already. This is the perfect time to reevaluate this stuff, and Brent's
And
got
for,
this great document for that.
and for goodness sakes, don't try to hide from it. Don't just pretend like your kids aren't driving. You need to call your agent. Uh, don't let them drive and not because let me tell you something. You might have a policy form where they're excluded. unless they're named.
Mm,
A
no.
lot of the major carriers are going to that too. If everyone in the household isn't named on the policy, they're not covered.
Yeah,
So,
and usually the policies that tend to have the lowest those premiums that are like really dramatically lower than everybody, and those policies may be great for your family, but those are the policies you typically see that have weeded out a lot of this stuff, and
yes,
then that's
all
why
the automatic stuff's gone.
yeah, the automatic stuff's gone, and it still may be the perfect policy for your family, but that's what we're going to cover next week. So we want you to come back next week, and it doesn't matter if you have a kid driver or not. You either know somebody who will, because this is going to be one of those episodes like this one. You need to share these with other people.
Yeah.
If you think anybody's driving, all you moms out there and dads who are volunteering, send this to everybody in the world that you know, because you're going to be their best friend, because you could definitely protect them if they listen to this episode.
Yeah.
And next week, especially if there's a potential for youthful drivers, you've got to stay tuned for
Yeah,
that. I'm excited about
absolutely.
that. I can't wait to see your
Absolutely.
document
That's gonna
again.
be a fun show because I think there's a lot to it, and the contract is crazy. People read it and they're always like, "Wow, I'm not gonna do all this." You're like, "You
Yeah, you're
better."
angry. You hate children.
My kids are gonna hate this. Of course
Yeah,
they
that's
are.
the fun part about it.
Yeah.
We love it. We
Yeah.
want to make them happy. They get everything they
Yeah,
want.
they get everything they want.
Well, that'll be great for next week. And oh, I got to tell you, I went to the Tech game. Can we transition to that?
It's
Can we?
time to.
Can we? Okay. I went Wednesday night, and Kelly and I went. Oh my gosh, they looked
That
pretty
was
good.
Utah, right?
They look good. The Utes.
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 We beat
I just
them in
like to say
football,
it.
too.
Utes. It's really a great name. It's kind of fun. It doesn't really sound good in the stadium. I don't think anybody's going Utes, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their chant is. But
What were y'all chanting?
you know what? I was sitting. Well, I was a very docile fan.
Come on, man.
It was an 8:00
That's
game. I got to
never
be honest
happened.
with you. It was an 8:00 game, and it had been a busy day, and so it's kind of our date night because I got the daughter's coming in today, and then Sam's coming back from his mission trip to
Oh, I gotta hear about
Saturday.
that, yeah.
He's still gone. So we were actually talking a lot just in the game, and people watching and stuff. But then the game was just, I'm telling you, just even Utah too. The quality of basketball now is in the Big 12, for instance, just
It's
all
good.
around good.
It's
And
good.
no one's really bad, and everybody's got really good players. And
Yeah, every week you're gonna have to play to win. I mean, and I know we
yeah,
put them away finally, but they were really never out of reach, and
no,
I
no,
kept
no,
thinking
no.
because I couldn't get it because I don't have a Peacock subscription
Well, don't get one.
apparently, and so I couldn't watch the game. So I was watching the play-by-play on my phone, and I was texting you. But man, that was those guys came to play.
Well, I'm going to tell you, that's why I think if I'm just speaking for the Big 12 because I'm not endorsing why am I speaking for the Big 12? I'm not allowed to do that. I'm speaking of the Big 12 because that's what we see. But I think if you're a season ticket holder for anybody, any team in the Big 12, you're getting your value now. You used to kind of go,
Absolutely.
we're kind of getting it for the 3 or 4 games. But there is not even the preseason games. Everybody we used to go, oh gosh, just like watching, Pigeon Junior High. No, everybody's competitive. Everybody's good. And season ticket holders, especially in basketball, I think it's the best value of any of them.
Let me tell
Because
you,
they're all good games.
where we've seen it down here is University of Houston. You know where my son went.
Well,
Uh,
yeah.
Man, them coming into the Big 12 has just been a godsend for them because now every week they've got superstar teams coming in there to play. And let me tell you, they've got a great basketball experience down there. It's very much like what happens at Tech, very similar.
Great.
And I'm sure all college basketball is relatively similar, but very exciting. Lots of cool stuff at halftime, lots of promotions and people shooting from half court and all. It's just super fun. They've got great music and lighting, and it's a really neat experience, just like it is at Tech. And it's really transformed that school and football and
Yeah, it's a
basketball.
great show. That's one thing because
It
Kelly
is
and
a
I
great
went.
show.
And for 2 hours, you're entertained the whole time, high energy, fun. Houston does take, there's other schools. Now, there's a couple or few in the Big 12 12 that you can just tell it looks like it does. It looks like a funeral's going on. And you can just see it, and you can actually, the announcers now are kind of like, none of us want to go there, and the announcers get hyped up if they go to a Houston or they go to a Tech game or Kansas or something like that, because I mean, they like it too. But man, it's so much fun. I think our team is going to do, they are doing, but I think they're going to do really well. I like how they're coached. I mean, but these guys are just disciplined. And I know the NIL stuff, it drives me a little crazy. I'm not a huge fan of all this stuff with college sports, but I will say though, the product on the court and the kind of the business mindset, you see these kids, I mean, they're going
not
to
kidding
town
around anymore.
They're not kidding around. And
I mean, they're just not.
Great experience.
All right, let's transition. We got run out of time, but we got to talk about Texans really fast. Going up to Foxborough, we put the Steelers away in Pittsburgh on Monday night, which was incredible. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, we just shut that guy down, and their coach quit after the game. I mean, it was pretty amazing, and we owed that to them, by the way, because they stole the AFC Championship for us back in 1979.
Allegedly,
a lot of Oilers fans know very well about.
Allegedly.
In fact, that was the genesis of instant replay, was Mike Renfro catching a winning touchdown pass and the referees calling it out of bounds, and we lost the game. Anyway.
I'm glad to see you've let that go.
Yeah, and I've let it go. It doesn't bother me anymore. and so I felt like we got a little redemption on Monday night because we pulled that one out and won and played well. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to have our hands full in Foxborough. The Patriots are fantastic. And we're going to have to go up there and play our absolute best. C.J. Stroud's going to have to shake off it looked like he had the Sunday scaries going on when he was back there a little bit like,
this is fun.
This is fun. I'm having fun. These people are trying to kill me.
He looked like me.
He's going to have the game of his life. And I think they can do it, though. I really think they can win.
I'm telling you, man, it's just, they could definitely do it. To go win in Pittsburgh just in that environment.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a tough environment, regardless of what's on the other side of the field. Just going there and getting out there alive is a huge feat.
Oh, man, those fans are fired up. They got all those towels, a terrible towel, and they're pretty wild up there. Those guys get fired up. I mean,
gosh, did you see what the weather's going to be like in Chicago for that game? It's like a blizzard or something going on there. And what are they playing? LA or one of the teams, one of the warm teams? And
I love that when LA's up and like they're in Green Bay playing on the frozen tundra.
Yeah,
and
they're like, they've never played under
happening?
50, and it's going to be like under 50 below.
Yeah, it's going to be like 50 below.
Yeah, do you know what the weather is? What's the weather in Foxborough?
Yeah, 50 below.
Yeah, what's it going to be in Foxborough? Is it going to be snowy or is it going to be?
I bet it's going to be cold. I can't imagine it won't be.
I know, and that's a hard
we're
deal.
We're a warm weather team too. I mean, I hate to say it, but we play indoors here, so it's.
That's kind of like
Foxborough's outside.
Sam on his trip, I was like, "Did you see the Baltic Sea?" He goes, "Yeah," and I go, "Well, how's it look?" He goes, "It's completely frozen."
Frozen over.
It is. He goes, "The whole sea is frozen because where he is, it's about 14 degrees constantly. Gets down to -5." He goes, "It's just like a huge body of ice." And I know the folks up north see that sometimes in the Chicago area and all that.
But think about how cold it's got to be for salt water to freeze in a sea. This is not a small body of water. This is something they refer to as a sea.
No.
And it's made of salt water, and it's frozen.
It is frozen, and it's a red flag that says you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah,
but we're here.
Go home.
And there's houses everywhere. It's like, hey, this is an unbearable place. But you know what? It's home. No, it's not home. You live in a frozen land of ice. Ah, well, good luck, Texans. Red Raiders are also playing Saturday. They're playing Houston.
Playing U of H, and then don't we play BYU right after that?
That game is I think that I'm gonna go, but I'm not gonna be able to stay the whole time because I'll be picking up Sam, but we'll go for the first half. But it should be wait, no, that's not you. Houston is the 24th. Who are we playing?
I thought it was a Saturday.
It's not this Saturday. It's the 24th because I looked it up for you.
And next Saturday.
That tip-off is a 5:30 p.m. tip-off. That's a weird tip-off with Houston.
That is a weird time.
So I can't remember who we're playing. So if somebody would leave it in the comments, it'd be great so I could know. I could pull it up, but I can't see it. I don't have my glasses on. So, All right,
All
man.
right.
It's been great. Thank you, Brent. Also, seriously, Brent has not been feeling well. Thank you for sticking it out for the show, buddy. I hope you get to feel better.
I'm guns up this morning, brother.
He
I'm
made
all
it.
good.
And we're not going to tell you what the medicinal purposes that got him through the show.
Just
But
my
if you like,
baby cup of coffee.
and it may be a new
No
sponsor.
additives.
Yeah. I feel like we have another sponsor coming, Brent, for one of the shows down the line. I've been in some negotiations. So everybody hang on for that. But listen, thank you very much for watching this episode of Risk Raiders. We have a fantastic week, and we're going to see you next Friday, and we're going to talk
Yep.
about those kid driver things. You got to be careful with the little punks.
Yep. Everybody have a great holiday weekend, and we will see you next Friday.
Wreck 'em.